Easy now, you don't need to go down. Easy now, no need to go down. Rock that run, that this how we frown. Easy now, you don't need to go down.
What do you want to know? Ask me. What's up? It's Callie of thecoreofyou.com, and this is Ask Callie. Now today's video is dedicated to those new naturals out there. Whether you are transitioning or you just did the big chop, I want to say congratulations on embarking on this new journey. And this video is dedicated to you. So starting off with transitioners, when you start transitioning, it's an exciting phase, and also it can get complicated and confusing. Most of us have, whether you have had a relaxer since before you can remember, or you got it when you were a teenager or what have you, you're still reacquainting yourself with your hair regardless. So you have to get to know it, and when you're transitioning, that extra element of having that processed hair with the new growth can make things a little hectic. But we have some tips for you today. Now, first off, one thing I suggest when you're transitioning is you want to try to make the hair a consistent texture. So, match the textures of the roots to the processed hair. How do you do that? One thing that I highly recommend is braid outs or twist outs. When you have those braid outs or twist outs, it takes the two textures and puts them in one direction, obviously, without using heat. Some people opt to keep pressing the roots, which can be time consuming, frustrating, and inclement weather, and not to mention damaging to the hair. But if you do braid outs and twist outs, it's obviously the less heat you use, the better things are. It puts everything in one consistent look, one texture, and aesthetically it looks good. You're still rocking your fly do, kind of have that natural illusion even before you completely go natural, and you're working with the texture of your hair, going into that spiral or that wave or what have you. So that's one thing I highly suggest as a go-to style for transitioners. You also want to obviously make sure that your hair is conditioned, which we say at any point, whether you're transitioning or completely natural. If you think about your hair, you have the roots, which are curly or wavy, whatever, and they're meeting the processed hair, which is straight, or whatever chemical you have, it's altered the texture of the hair. Now when you have the two meet, that point where they meet at, it is obviously high risk for breakage and friction and things like that. So you want to make sure that you are very gentle and delicate with all of your hair at that state, but especially that point of where the textures alter. So hence what we were talking about earlier with the braid outs and twist outs. You want to detangle it very carefully, not taking the comb and chopping at it. As with anything, if you have something curly and it meets that straight part and you're trying to comb through that, there's going to be friction there, and that will most likely lead to breakage. So you're going to want to be easy with that. Be patient with your hair. I would recommend going through finger combing it, and then maybe after you have detangled it, then you can go through with the comb if you like, or you can just twist it, braid it, whatever. Now, some people choose different ways of growing out their hair. Some just are like, okay, I got a little bit of new growth, I'm about to just chop it all off, and some of us who aren't as daring want to, go through a little process of growing the hair out. So when we finally cut off the processed hair, we have a good amount that we're, a little more comfortable with as far as our hair length goes. For me, I transitioned for about a year. I didn't wear my hair out till about a year and a half after I got my last chemical. For a year I was getting weaves. Then once my texture started coming in more prominently, I got braids because it was just too much to try to blend my hair in with the weave hair. And so I started getting braids and cutting. Every time I took my braids out, I would cut a little more of the processed hair off, until eventually it was all gone. And then after that, I wore braids for a little while longer to get a certain length, we all had that idea of a length we feel comfortable with. And then it got to a point where I was just like, all right, I'm ready. I was eager. I was like, you need to start getting to know your hair and, figuring out how to work with your texture, being that I had a relaxer since I was 3. So I didn't know how to deal with my natural hair at all. yeah, so after that, you know, when you first coming from transitioning to the big chop or what have you and dealing with your own hair, at first it's like, okay, you're excited, you see when you wet your hair and you wash it, you can see the potential and the texture and everything like that, but you don't know what exactly to do or how to get it all one consistent texture, or you know, it might look a little, you know, you might have like straight strands sticking out here, and you know, the hair isn't really in one cohesive unit, and that's common. Most people have that. First of all, most of us have a bunch of different textures going through our hair as it is, you know. That's very common. But it's not, that doesn't mean it's impossible for you to get, you know, a wash and go look. That's what I thought initially, and clearly now I'm washing and going all the time. But you want to train the hair at first. I wish when I first started wearing my hair natural, I would do braid outs and twist outs all the time, which are great, but they can be time consuming as well. I wish I had known that I could do wash and goes back then, because that would have saved me a ton of time. When your hair is wet and you're first going natural, you want to get to know the texture of your hair. You know, you want to play with the texture of your hair, go through and, you know, finger comb it, look at the curls and coils, and that way you see what works for you, what styles work, you know, play with it in different ways, and work with it in that way. Make sure to always keep it conditioned. You know, look at the previous videos talking about how to take care of it at night, you know, sleeping with a satin pillowcase, etc., etc. Also, wash and goes, have a video on that. You can check that out. As far as styling tips, now you're officially in the natural world, so you know, you can get to experimenting and, you know, seeing what works for you. Always come to thecoilreview.com to get different tips on how to care for your hair and style it. And yeah, that's that. So coming up on Ask Callie, the next video that I want to do, we are going to be talking about what to do if you do not have any natural hair salons or experts within your reach. So if you live in a town that, you know, you check the Coil Review directory, the natural hair stylist and expert directory on thecoilreview.com, and you haven't seen a stylist in your area, then send your questions into me. Kendra from Kentucky sent an email saying that she wanted, you know, she's been natural for some time now, taking care of it on her own, but she wants to like get it cut into a shape that flatters her face, get her hair cut into a shape that flatters her face naturally, you know, without straightening it. And she has no natural hairstylists or experts around her, so she wants to know what to do. So Kendra, I am working on getting you some info, and anybody else who has questions like Kendra's, you know, you want to know what to do with your hair without having a natural hairstylist or expert accessible, send those questions in now. Now's your chance to get those questions answered. Send them in to askcallie@thecoilreview.com. Also, if you have any products or hair tools, appliances that you've been curious about, and whether it's a product and you're not sure how to use it and you don't want to spend that kind of money yet, before knowing what exactly it, you know, would do to your hair or for your hair, or if there's an appliance or some kind of hair tool that you want to know how to use, you know, what it does for your hair, how it styles your hair, if you know how it benefits the hair, send in the name of that to me, and I will do my research and get back to you on whatever it does for your hair. Okay, you know how I do, always here to answer your questions and do the research to help you along with your journey. I will see you soon, and thanks for tuning in to Ask Callie. Check out thecoilreview.com for more info. Ciao.
Easy now, you don't need figure down. Easy now, no need figure down. Rock that, run that, this how we frown. Easy now, you don't need figure down. Easy now, no need figure down. Rock that, run that, this how we frown.